Now, I wish to answer a question which Rabbi Miller asks, and the question is, Dear Rambam, Maimonides, how come you do not have the requirements of a prophet as stated in the Talmud? After all, don't you know that Rabbi Yochanan said that prophecy only rests upon a wise man, a rich man, a strong man, and a humble man? And why doesn't Maimonides list these requirements? Why doesn't he list wealth? And why doesn't he list strength? This would seem to be, and also it says that the prophet has to be good looking. The prophet has to be the kind of person you like to look at. Why is this not a requirement that Maimonides writes? And I have an answer for Rabbi Miller, and the truth of the matter is that he glosses over the answer and does not realize what he says. The answer for those out there is that when Rabbi Yochanan said that a prophet must be strong, it doesn't mean that he has to be a champion, a heavyweight champion. And when he says that a prophet has to be rich, it doesn't mean he has to be Rockefeller or Bill Gates. And the same thing is true that he has to be humble, etc. He doesn't have to be a shmata. He doesn't have to be a rag. What exactly is Rabbi Yochanan trying to tell us? So let me review a Mishnah with you. 4th chapter of Pirkei Avos, the Ethics of the Father's first Mishnah. Ben Zoma Omer. Ben Zoma says, Ezu Chacham, who is wise? Halomid Mikaladam, who learns from every man. Ezehu Gibor, who is strong. Hakovish Yiso, he who contains his passion. Ezehu Ashir, who is rich. Hasamech Bechelko, who is happy with his lot. Ezehu Mechubed, who is honored. Hamechabed es Abrius, who honors others. This seems to be a strange set of aphorisms. Why is it important to put in the 4th chapter of the Ethics of the Fathers, who is wise? What difference does it make? Who is wise? What difference does it make if you are wise? You're supposed to study. You're supposed to do what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to do the commandments. Why do you have to be wise for altogether? Why do you have to be strong? Why is it necessary to be strong? Why do you have to be rich? Why does he ask this question? And the answer is based upon the teachings of Maimonides as he has them listed in the 8 chapters in the Shmona Prakim. And you, Rabbi Miller, missed it. I'll tell you what it says, what it means. It means as follows. Ben Zoma was trying to convey to the common man that the Torah is for the common man, and the ultimate purpose of the Torah is for the common man. What's the ultimate purpose of the Torah? To reach communication with God, to be able to understand God. And we know you can't be a prophet unless you're exceedingly wise. You can't have prophecy unless you're rich, unless you're strong, and unless you're humble. So, Ben Zoma says, this is within the capacity of every person. A person is truly wise if he always is ready to hear somebody else's opinion, because he's curious and he wants to investigate the truth. In other words, the wisdom necessary for prophecy is an insatiable wisdom that is always looking for some other way to understand things. So therefore he's always listening. Maybe somebody else has got a different opinion. You're able to learn from any person. That's the wisdom necessary. Who is rich is happy with his lot. Wealth isn't important for prophecy. Why does it make a difference to God if you're rich or not? Because other people listen to you. Wait a second. Just listen. The reason for wealth is that the person is a happy person. The person is satisfied. The person doesn't feel he's missing anything, because in order to be a prophet, In order to communicate with God, you have to believe that everything comes from God. If everything comes from God, then you can't feel any pain about things. Everything is coming from God is good. Most people can't feel good about themselves and good about life. There's always something wrong. They always have a chip on their shoulder. Only people who are wealthy are happy, it seems. Not that the wealthy are happy, but people who are what is called wealthy are happy because they see things, that everything is really good. They see things clearly. They're not overwhelmed by what they're missing, because they're not missing anything, so they can see clearly. And they see that life is really good. Even the struggles of life are good. And if a person can learn to be happy with his lot, then he's got the advantage of wealth, because the purpose of wealth is to learn to be happy, learn to be satisfied, not to grab things and be a glutton, but rather to approach life that everything is coming from God and everything is good, and we have to find out how we can become better. And that's the nature that is necessary to open you up for a higher understanding. If you're happy and you're not overwhelmed by things, then you can seek out things that are beyond you. The same thing is true with being strong. Strength doesn't mean you can punch somebody out, somebody's lights out. That's not why people honor you. I once had a football player teaching some kids, and they ate him up alive. Why? Because teaching is not require the strength of a football player. Teaching requires personal discipline, the ability to control your actions to others, and focus on what the task is so that the others can feel inspired. The whole main strength of a person is the character strength of the person, that the person knows what to do, the person is prepared, the person wants to share, the person wants to give over, the person is always ready. That's what a Gibor is. He's ready to take on the tasks. That only is if you are able to overcome your passion and overcome your own inhibitions and overcome your emotional deficiencies. You're a person who takes responsibility, takes charge. You're able to control your passion. That's a Gibor. That's the nature that is able to get you to the position that you don't get frustrated, you don't get overwhelmed, because being a prophet requires tremendous intensity and tremendous struggle, and the person who is strong will find that he's able to overcome all the obstacles in order to attain the knowledge of God. The same thing is true with humility. Humility is the ability not to see yourself. And the purpose of humility is so that other people don't think it's an agenda. The reason why people don't listen to other people is because they think they're selfish. And that's why a person's got to be humble. How do you become humble? So Ben Zoma gives us the best way. Honor other people. Be happy. Don't worry about who you're sitting with. Don't worry about who cares about you. Don't worry about who your friends are, that they have multi-millions and multi-zillions, or they're very popular and so on. Be respectful of all people who come to you. Feel that every person is a child of God and treat him that way. And people will treat you the same way. When you learn to treat everybody like they want to be treated because they're the children of God, then they will listen to you. That's humility, because you truly feel that every person has got something to contribute, because every person has got a spark of God within them. And so, my friends, the reason why Maimonides doesn't mention wealth and strength and humility, because these are things that are found in good characteristics when a person fulfills all that the person has to fulfill in the proper pursuit of Midas Tovas, good attributes. And the same thing is true with the intellect. You don't have to be an Einstein. You just have to be curious. You have to always learn to strive for the truth. And so, my friends, anybody can be a prophet, and the characteristics necessary are not so special that we can't pursue it. We can all get there if we try.